Welcome to the narrowboat that James built. Hope you're well, thanks for joining me.
Right, I've just got back to the boat and I can definitely see a heat haze coming out of that. It's been on all night, so I'm hoping it's properly nice and warm in there. Yes, yeah, it is nice and warm. Everything looks pretty good. But yeah, the whole boat, well, all of this all feels nice and warm. Even up here feels nice and warm. So yeah, that has worked a treat. It's been on for, what, 15 hours maybe. Oh, it's a black kettle, didn't realise that. So this is when a project all of a sudden becomes a home, because I can now make myself a brew on board. So Paul said that if I want to boil something, put it straight on the hot plate. Right, that's on setting 1. The gap in the rail there is so you can put a saucepan on and have the handle coming out. But yeah, that's on number 1. So let's see if I get the boil off that. Yeah, the whistle doesn't work particularly well, but that's boiling. I'll put tea bag in. And then the idea is you put a trivet on it, and then you can leave that on, and it'll just keep it hot. And then next time I come to make a brew, it'll be much quicker to bring it to the boil. Right, today I'm going to be doing some fiberglassing to get this thing reinforced. I put a few like horizontal battens across it to reinforce it in certain places, but I need to reinforce these curves. I've also made these braces here for these curves to kind of keep it in place quite nicely. But yeah, glass fibre, those bends. Right, I had to take the kettle off because the trivet didn't stop the water from boiling, and it's on its lowest setting, so that's not going to really work unless I get a taller trivet maybe, and it even keeps the fan going. But now I've got to move on to my fiberglassing. So these are some of the supports I've put in. Those have been on for a couple of days now. So yeah, just a bit of 18mm ply around there and on the drawers. So down these curves here, basically there's quite a lot of, well, there's loads of kind of flex to it like that. So there's a couple of things. I'll take that one out. There's flex on the whole thing, which is, you know, obvious at this point. But this has also got flex in it. And even if that was to be rigid, that would still have some flex in it. So I need to support it two ways. I need to reinforce the inner side of this, and I need to reinforce all of this stuff and keep it all rigid. So the way I'm going to reinforce this stuff is by using fiberglass and resin, and then yeah, make up some blocks to go on there, but need to do that bit first. Right, I've tied it up around there as well, so it's not so much of a shit pin. So to do this fiberglassing, I need to do a test piece first. So I'm going to be doing it on the thin bits of those curves, of those bends. So this piece here, which was from one of those mistakes I made, I can test it on there. Really, what I'm doing, I just want to test to make sure that the resin doesn't bleed through onto that side. So I've got a couple of bits here of different thicknesses. This bit here is really quite thin. Some bits there which are really thin, but the rest of it is kind of pretty standard for all of that. And there are different types of resins you can get. I didn't luck out when I last went to the Fiberglass shop in Brentford, so I've ended up going to the Swindlers and spent a bloody fortune on it, but essentially it's all pretty much the same stuff. There's a resin, a hardener, and on this one I'm using glass matting. So I'm going to be going to the Fiberglass shop though tomorrow and get myself some proper epoxy and like a larger amount. This is piddly amount, but I just want to check it all works really. And it's a little bit like baking, so it's all quite specific quantities and volumes. So I've got myself a digital metric scale and some measuring jugs. So it's 2% catalyst, so however much of this I put in of the resin, I need 2% catalyst. So you can either measure it out by like volume, so 100 mil, but then for me to get 2% on 100 mil on this thing is gonna, you know, on a measuring jug is nearly impossible. But for me to work it out in percentages is much easier. So if I put in 100 grams of resin, I need 2 grams of hardener. And obviously the amount of hardener you put in will dictate how much kind of work time you've got on it. And then the idea is, you kind of cut this up. In the application I'm going to be using it for, I'll be alright just to cut this into strips, just long strips up there. So apply the resin first, get it all wetted, put that on, wet it through, and then once it's gone off, kind of see how it looks. This stuff's all quite mucky though, so safety precautions will need to be taken. I haven't got much of this at all. This is really a piddly amount. I need loads. Right, so I'm going to cut that into a couple of strips first. Obviously the smaller the strips, the easier it is to work. It's fine for me to be cutting it on this application. I don't need the edges to be feathered. If I did though, to kind of create a better bond between the layers, you just kind of pull it apart a little bit and it all starts to feather. Right, that'll do for the moment. So gloves. Right, so I've got my bits of glass matting. I don't need much of it because this is only a test piece. So a couple of bits of that. Got my piece of wood. I've got something to stir it with. I've got something to brush it on with. Because this is not going to be like, well, you're meant to kind of have a roller to squeeze out all the air pockets. But I'm only kind of, I think it'll be all right without it, to be honest. I haven't got them. So, right, so 100 grams of, actually I don't want to do 100, I've only got 250 grams here, so I'll just do, what should I do? 10 grams of resin, that's not exactly much, is it? Oh, I'm getting more tomorrow, sorry. So I've got to I need glasses. Right, I go for 50 grams of resin, and at 2% catalyst, that is 1 gram of catalyst. I got that right? Yeah, yeah, that's right. It's half of 100, isn't it? Oh, bloody hell, I've got to take that thing out. How does that come out? say 50 grams. Oh shit, 51 grams. Right, 2% hardener. So that is up to 52 grams now. Ooh. The more hardener, the quicker it will go off. Right, oh no, right, oh okay. Okay, 52 grams right now. Let's stir this. And this causes I think it's called an exothermal reaction. So it heats up. Oh, I love the smell of this stuff. Okay. That's what she looks like, all mixed up. Right, now put on the glass fibre. I'll put one bit there. One bit in there. And that bit there. And then dab it back on top with a load more resin. Get it completely saturated. The job's a good one. Let that go off. I'm one of those people with a really active mind, and certainly at the moment when life's busy and hectic and there's lots going on with the boat build and the kids and everything, there's nothing better than to sit down and just stop and lose myself in something different. And a good way for me is magazines. So once again, I use my Readly app and open it up, and it shows me a whole load of stuff, all the recent titles that it thinks I'll be interested in, which usually I am. And I am particularly interested in a magazine at the moment called Happiful, and it's kind of a well-being magazine. It's really nice. It's really well designed and laid out, and there's no adverts, so it's really nice just to kind of flick through. There's loads of good content in there. But yeah, as I said, at the moment, I'm kind of trying to find ways of kind of chilling my mind and kind of stopping it racing a million times. The way the app works is brilliant. So I use the app on the phone. It's really intuitive. It's really simple to use and navigate. You can bookmark everything. And when reading newspapers, I particularly like the feature of the article view. So when you see a article that you're interested in, just after perusing, you can just hover above it and click on the article, and it comes up in a really easy to read format. I really like that feature. I really like the way that Readly push content to me that I think I'm interested in. So this is a lifestyle magazine about how billionaires live. I also really like the offer they've got for you. So 2 months free subscription. You can cancel at any time, although why would you? So if you're looking for a way to while away those long, dark winter evenings, then I suggest you immerse yourself in the world of magazines on Readly. So click on the link in the pinned comment or the description of the video, follow the steps and enjoy. Right, I've put some resin on this piece of sanded ply as well, just to kind of see what the finish is like on it. But right now I need to repay the favour to Marlon. He has broken down, he's got some kind of engine failure, it's not cranking, it's not starting, it's not turning over. So it's a little bit nerve-wracking for him at the minute. So he's checked himself in at Hemel Marina, the Winkwell dock. Problem is we've got to get him from here, Berkhamsted, down to Hemel. And we can't really use one of our boats because they don't both fit in locks together. So it's a bit of a palaver doing each lock twice. And there's 6 locks between here and there. And also there's no way of Marlon braking. So if you're on the tow rope, without braking, he's going to be finding it quite tricky to come to a halt when the towboat stops at the lock. So we're going to walk him down. So someone doing the locks, 2 people on ropes, and Marlon on the back with a long stick. Should be all right. Morning, boys.
Morning.
You all right?
Yeah.
Right, this is our 3rd lock now. That last pound was tricky because there's lots of more boats there. So it kind of rope it all over. Whereas the next pound is going to be much, much easier. We'll just be a horse and take it down the towpath. Happy days. Come on, Rob. All right, we're going the wrong way. We're going the wrong... Hemel's that way. We've been quite lucky on this journey down here in terms of having to navigate past moored boats. There hasn't been many, and on this pound it's about the same. There's only one there which looks like it's come loose on its line, so we'll tie that up. But yeah, get down to the next lock, then the swing bridge, and then we're there. Luckily, there are only 2 boats for us to skip past this time. See you later, Marlon. I'll catch you tonight, mate. No worries, pal. Right, I'm back on the boat, warming up. It was a long old slog getting Marlon's boat down there today, but relieved that he's down there anyway. So came back to this. This has all gone off, but it hasn't quite shown me exactly what I wanted. I wanted to make sure it hasn't bled through, which obviously it has there, but that's because it fell on the resin, which was sitting on there. So that's giving me no indication at all. But the bit there where I put the fiberglass on, that one bit of strand there, that's tough as you like. There's a bit of flex where it's just the resin, but yeah, that is brilliant. So I think that's going to be okay to carry on with. So what I'm going to do is weigh myself out some more of this stuff. That's all gone off. So weigh myself out more of this. Right, 100 grams of that. So 2 grams of this. two. Then your brush. Tomorrow when I go to the fiberglass shop, I'm going to get myself some acetone so I can clean all this up. Because I'll be doing quite a bit of this, I reckon. Right, I'm going to start getting this resin on here. And then lay in a strip of glass fibre and then kind of pat it down again with more resin. That's properly wetted through. Can't really see any spots at all where it's not fully saturated. So a bit more resin's not going to do any harm. I said you are meant to roll this out to make sure there's no air bubbles. But to be honest, I think on this application, I think it's going to be fine. Sorry, the lighting's pretty bad, but you'll see the glass fibres come all the way up to the top here. It's going to nicely soak through. There's nothing visible on this side at all, which is relieving. Although in this light I'm not really going to see it anyway. But yeah, that should be okay. Maybe a few more, well, there's a few bits here which I haven't done yet, so I'll come back to that tomorrow or when it's gone off. Well, it's been on for about half an hour. It's not fully gone off yet. There's definitely no bleeding coming through on the other side, which is good. There's a nice little pool of resin at the bottom, which means that kind of a nice seal, kind of, I don't know, just makes it a nice decent bond there at the bottom. But I'm going to leave this for a few hours and come back and check on it. I'm going to the canal popular haunt, which is the Fisheries Wharf Cafe tonight for the open mic night, which will be good fun. And then I'll come back and check on this. But yeah, Marlon's down that neck of the woods, so he's going to join us. Thank you so much for Readly for sponsoring this video. Thank you for everyone for watching. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.